one more short story. Hello, and thank you for joining us for one more short story with me, Chris Fulwell, the bite-sized audiobook podcast of Writing Battle Stories. So, in today's episode of One More Short Story, we are joined by the power couple behind Writing Battle. We're joined by Max and Teona Bjork. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Thanks, Chris.
Thanks
yeah,
for
right on.
having us.
I'm not sure about power couple.
Oh, absolutely. 100%. 100%. It's great to have you both here with me today, not just because you're, nice people and all the rest of it, but also we get to talk about Writing Battle, not just talk about the stories, but the battle itself. And, I could chew your ear off for hours on end about that. So I guess first question is, where do you both see Writing Battle going in 2026, like the game side of it?
Teona, do you want to go for it?
I mean, there's been a lot of changes, even just in the last month that we're implementing for the pro judge battles. So I think it'll just be kind of rolling with that and trying to make sure that that's solid. And then, we're constantly talking, hey, what if we threw this in this year? And what if we threw that in? And I'm not really sure how much I'm allowed to divulge. So I'll let Max talk about stuff because I tend to overshare.
Yeah, I mean, I think with any kind of creation, right? So when somebody creates like a business or a story or I think there's like a certain amount of effort that goes into just learning what the product is, right? Like obviously people love Writing Battle, and we're constantly trying to find out. It's like, well, what exactly do people love about Writing Battle, and like what exactly is it? Is it a game? Not really, because stories aren't really something that it's not like something that you can just throw away, right? Like there's a little piece of everybody that goes into each story. So but it is competitive because there's a winner. I mean, there's several winners in Writing Battle, but there's very few people win. And so what we're kind of playing around with right now is that it is kind of like a wine league for creative writers. It's not quite a beer league for like baseball or something like that, but it's certainly it's a it's a place where people go to write creatively and to compete and
Share, find community.
Yeah, find community and just to socialize a little bit. So
and will there be wine? You mentioned a wine league. Will there be?
Exactly. Yeah, right. Provided, bring your own wine.
Bring your own. Okay, all right.
But I think we're going to play around with that kind of aspect, like the league side of it, and so that means we're probably going to explore maybe RPG style elements. And that kind of thing, to have your kind of like online presence, more customizable, and you can kind of pick your own path. Like I think the classes were the first start of that, but
okay.
We'll see where things go. That's
no, it's exciting. No, it's good. I think customization will be really popular with people taking part in Writing Battle, and there's already a decent element of that with, like you said, the classes and the funny trophies and things. And I know much discussion happens around, what happens if I combine 3 of those or 3 of those and then 3 of them? Is there more coming on the trophy side of things, or are you not allowed to divulge at this stage?
I mean, so we can definitely talk about that. So the first thing I'm going to do with trophies is kind of regenerate all of them. That's just like more of a technical thing on the back end. I need to implement it in a way where we can do more with them. So where we can like currently when you combine trophies, you can't uncombine them, for instance. You should be able to do that.
Okay.
So we have to kind of start at the base level again for trophies. but yeah, there's going to be trophies and like different achievements, and then the trophies will tie into more RPG elements, likely a character. And that's about all I can
Okay.
say.
All right.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm looking forward to this. This is going to be good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. Is there anything else that you're allowed to share with me at this stage about Writing Battle in 2026, or is it time to get into the stories, do you think?
I don't want to promise too much, or because things things can change within a single day.
Yeah.
It's like we're on one path, and then we realize it's like, actually this doesn't work because of X. So it's I don't want to tie ourselves kind of down too much, but I will say that we are exploring kind of an annual championship, and
An
that's
annual championship. Oh, okay. All right.
yeah. So like where you qualify from placing in a like a certain kind of ranking within any of the battles, any of the 8 battles within the year, and you qualify for an annual one. And yeah, we're exploring that anyways, and it won't be
Like a
this year,
Champions
but
League. Yeah.
exactly, like a champion kind of battle. And we have a name and everything, but we're not ready to talk about that. We have actually quite a bit built out for that, but we're that's something else, right? Because yeah, I think that's like it's with there being 8 battles, we kind of want just one to really kind of encapsulate the year previous. Essentially, it's like something
Okay.
that you work towards, and that you're it's something exciting when you qualify for, and it'd be one big single elimination tournament essentially. But yeah.
I mean, that sounds extremely exciting. I've the 2 battles so far this year. I have bombed out in both in the early stages, so I'm looking forward to doing what I can to get my name in that elimination one in the next 6
Say
battles.
you bombed out. I saw your scores, Chris. You did fine.
Could have been better, could have been worse, I suppose. All right. Speaking of stories, that segues nicely into our first story coming up. We have 3 stories today, each selected by one of the 3 of us, by me and Max or Teona, or a mixture. The first story coming up is one of mine. It's my best friend Caitlin, which came from the House Pet Adventures genre from a spring battle last year. Max has very kindly agreed to read this one for us. I'm excited. I've never heard Max read a story before, or Teona for that matter. I can't imagine a context in which I would, unless I snuck into the house for story time. And I'm not sure we want to think about that in too much depth. But no, Max is going to read this. The prompts for this were House Pet Adventures, Sanctuary, and Loyal Sidekick. So, House Pet Adventures, an awful lot of wonderful animal stories in this genre. And I won't say too much. I haven't heard Max read this before, so I'm really looking forward to it. Okay, Max, over to you.
Everyone else in the house has been up for hours, but Caitlin's door is still closed. I know she's in there. I can smell her. I nudge the door with my head, a whine tickling in my throat. The door doesn't budge. She stays in her room a lot these days. Paul and Rachel try to help. Repetitive pleasantries and aborted conversations at Caitlin's doorway. She doesn't come out. When they think they're alone, Rachel and Paul argue about shitty, useless doctors and their fucking recluse of a daughter. I don't know what a fucking recluse is, but I'm sure Caitlin isn't one. She's my best friend. I'm done waiting outside Caitlin's room. I jump up and bat at the door handle. It works. I head in, tail thumping on the furniture, and hop up onto the bed. Caitlin takes up more space under the covers than before, but there's still room for me. I press my nose against her warm neck so she knows I'm here. She groans and pulls the blanket tightly over her head. I know why she likes staying in this bed. It's safe. People in this neighborhood like parties. 4th of July, birthdays, New Year. The noises hurt my ears and make my legs shake. When it's loud, I hide in Caitlin's bed, and she tells me I'm a good boy, stroking my tummy with her soft hands and singing to me. I love Caitlin. Caitlin isn't singing now. She's muttering and rocking side to side. Maybe something is hurting her. I have to help. When Caitlin was smaller, her room was full of toys. If she was sad, I would bring her one and drop it by her feet, and she'd giggle and squeeze me as hard as her little arms could manage. There aren't any toys in Caitlin's room now. There are posters of angry-looking people with microphones and guitars and clothes. Her clothes are everywhere. Maybe her closet is broken. Her covers shake with silent sobs. Right. If she doesn't have any of her own toys, I'll have to make do with one of mine. I have an idea. I scramble off the bed and bound downstairs, out into the yard, and get to sniffing. It has to be here somewhere. Got it. I dig. I dig like no dog has ever dug before, and seize what I need between my teeth. I spin back around and dash up the stairs, panting, with dirt on my nose and joy in my heart. I drop the ripped, drool-coated tennis ball next to Caitlin's bed. I buried a few of these in the yard, back when she was the same height as me and could hug me without having to squat. She was so happy then. I bark, not with anger, not with a warning, with love. The covers lift, 1 inch, 2. The tiniest laugh sneaks through the gap. I bark again. Caitlin's hand emerges. It's open, ready. It's bigger than it used to be, but just as soft.
My best friend Caitlin, my story of a friendly dog looking after the unfortunate struggles of a teenage girl going through there. Max, you read that very well. Thank you for that. No pressure, recording it on here with me listening to it. But I'm very, very glad you did that. Thank you. The story
Thank you for allowing me to read it. It was
not
great,
at all. Yeah. Not at all. It did, in terms of, I'd always like to talk about how stories fared in the competition. It got 6 wins out of 10, which is not to be sniffed at, if you'll pardon the pun. But it also got a lot of lovely comments in debrief, and that is a significant part of the writing battle experience. It's arguably my favourite, apart from the cortisol and adrenaline spike that come with the results day. But the debrief experience is great, and there was some very, very kind comments from people who either had pets or who had pets when they were younger about, oh yeah, that's what it can feel like. And I grew up with dogs, and I've always been a bit of an animal lover, and I'm sure when hearing this, my wife will use this as more ammunition for us to finally get a dog or a cat, maybe a fish. I don't know. But yes, okay. All right, I believe our second story today was Teona's choice. One of Teona's choices, I should say. And Teona, would you mind explaining a little bit about the story you've gone for from Trey here?
Yeah, so it is called Between the Pages. It was written for one of the micro challenges a few years ago. And back in those days, our judging roster, in order to do Final Showdown, we actually would have like a little bit of a house party, and our neighbors and friends would help us out with the judging for the Final Showdown. And this one actually came to our attention because of Max's sister-in-law, and she asked if she could read it to her kids because she just fell in love with it. And so, of course, it came across my screen, and I've since read it to our children, and it just really beautifully captures the imagination that comes from storytelling in books. And I feel like it's just such a great summation of what it was that we were trying to do when we started Writing Battle, bringing a place where people could write stories and inject life into a community that has been building since.
That's such a wonderful way of of putting it there, and with the sharing of the stories with children and with families and friends, and there's almost no purer communication of a story, is there, from that sort of I am reading this to you in this small section of our lives. I also have to say I love the idea of a live little house party judging. I don't imagine with several thousand competitors we can get back to that, but if there's any way we can get back to some kind of potted version of that around the world, I reckon you'd have a few takers for peer judging of that. I don't know how you'd organise that. It would be a headache. I should probably stop talking now. But yeah, so Teona's going to read Between the Pages, and that is this by Trey Dowell.
Oh yeah, so he's a longtime participant who about a year and a half ago decided to join us as a pro judge, and yeah, we've been so grateful for his input, and he's been a great resource for us over the years in terms of what's working on the judging side, what's working for participant side, and
he's just an awesome guy.
He's just a really cool guy. Yeah.
Good. Oh, well, there you go. No pressure for Trey then for us listening to his story. Thank you. I will be quiet now, and here we go. This is Teona reading Between the Pages by Trey Dowell.
When Miss Reidsworth pulled into the parking lot on a chariot pulled by Egyptian war horses, I knew right away she was no ordinary librarian. Like a lit match, orange and yellow hair atop the cool blue flame of her eyes, she strode in and gathered us kids in the back and asked one question. What do you do for fun? Minecraft, movies, cartoons. Ms. Reidsworth got all fidgety, like she could barely take it. Finally, she pulled an ancient leather book out of her satchel. This is my idea of fun. The book opened and water rushed out, flooding everything around us. We laughed, climbed aboard whatever we could reach. Fish swam in the picture book aisle. Eels slithered over the checkout counter. Then Miss Reidsworth called out, "Between the pages!" And the water, fish, and all flooded back into her book, tiny as could be. She flipped to a different page. An inky black smoke billowed out, covering the ceiling and curling down the walls. Bright lights twinkled in the darkness, and we were floating in space, watching a meteor hurtle towards Jupiter. Before the meteor struck, I heard, "Between the pages," and gravity plunked us back down on the carpet as the book sucked up the stars and planets and clamped shut. Your imagination is glorious, Miss Reidsworth said, bigger than any screen in the world. Use it. I stared, open-mouthed, and whispered, "How?" She motioned to the shelves all around, a million waiting pages, and winked.
Thank you very much. What a great story. This was from before my time in writing battle, but I can see why you've picked it. I can see why it did so as well as it did. I forgot in my excitement, I forgot to talk about the prompts and things before. This was in a battle from, oh gosh, which year was this? This was, where are you? This was from 2023 in the summer, and it was in the tall tale genre, I believe. Yeah, here we go. Tall Tale, Restless Librarian, and Glorious, all of which featured wonderfully. I can see why Trey got as far as he did. It was the runner-up in that competition, I think. He's since gone on to do really well in various competitions. I think he win his very last one in the short. Was it one of the short stories?
Yes, and what was cool about that was that he called it as his last battle before he was judging.
Okay.
So it wasn't like it was like, okay, I won, now I'm gonna judge. It was like he called it ahead of time, like, you know? And so it was such.
I believe you. I believe you. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's a well, and that was a great swan song as well as heist story. But that, yeah, the Between the Pages there, it almost feels like it's a lot longer than it actually is, if that makes sense. It's one of those stories where you can really see what the people with the librarian are seeing and all these things flying out, and then between the pages, and they're in, and it's, yeah, very, very nice. A tall tale indeed, but a tall tale of the very best kind. All right. So, on to our third story today, which is one that Teona and I chatted about in advance of this episode. And this is, I'm going to do my best to pronounce the name of this story because it's got a fantastic name. I think it's Seussociety. Have I got that right?
I believe so.
I hope so.
I've been saying Seussociety, but
okay.
I probably is Seussociety.
Oh, I'm going to go with Seussociety. And if I'm wrong, I'm very, very sorry to you. Is it Sam Dawe?
So yes,
Sam Dawe. So Sam Dawe is the author of this Seussociety, and this was a story from the summer before last, and in the social commentary genre. We had a great many very, very interesting, very clever and bold takes on things in social commentary. Social commentary, poet, and lollipop were the prompts. Now, this is one I get to read. I've been looking at this earlier today, and I hope that I can do it justice, Sam, if you're listening. So here we go. This is Seussociety by Sam Dawe. The cryotherapy retrieval process was strictly prohibited unless all other options had been exhausted. The state of the world had become so dismal, the extreme salvation measure was now warranted. The people watched, stricken with awe, as the doctor emerged from the cold and walked across the stage. He was their last chance. Slowly removing a lollipop from his mouth and setting it onto the podium, the doctor addressed the crowd. This planet has fallen to squalor and squit. To fix it, I fear, we'll need globber and grit. The rich are too rich, and the poor are too poor. This rinky-dink system won't do any more. Your faces are glued to your tablets and screens. Your Facebooks are bursting with nasties and means. Your tickety-tocks and your snappy-chat teens ought, I think, to be blown to eye-smithereens. The food you all eat now is pricey and yucky. To change this we need to act fast and be plucky. You people are rounder than ever before, because you all hunger for more, 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 more. The teachers must teach now. The preachers must preach. May the world be our oyster. It's just out of reach. The audience erupted with applause. Just like magic, he won them over. Dr. Seuss was chosen by the people, for the people. His out-of-the-fox-box thinking was exactly what they needed to restore their faith in humanity. Along with their optimistic new leader emerged a collective belief in a fresh beginning for all, tall and small. I must admit I missed that in the original competition back in 2024. In the madness of debrief, it managed to pass me by. I'm very glad I got to read it now, though, both read it to myself and also narrate it. It's a great little story, a lovely piece of social commentary, and I'd quite like it if someone like Dr. Seuss could just pop up and gesture broadly at basically everything and say, right, everyone, can we stop this and do some funny rhymes and make people happy? And yeah, just we could do with some of that in 2026, I think, just to improve things. With the social commentary genre, it'd be interesting to hear from you both. It threw up some very interesting conversations, right? The social commentary of how that genre was taken and how strongly or otherwise people went with their stories. I don't want to set a grenade off, but it'd be interesting to know what your reflections are on that.
Honestly, it's been so long since the social commentary.
Fair enough.
Right. You know, it was definitely, I'll say that it did feel like a little bit of a risk.
Yeah.
You know, with any kind of online platform, you don't want to set off like, you know, huge political discussions.
No.
Because those tend not to go very well. You know, so, but we also don't want to stifle. I mean, politics are in everything, right? And they should be in stories. So we also didn't want to, you know, stay away from genres like that.
And I think it was a little bit of an experiment too, where the community was still relatively small, that like any of the, and like there was an understanding that any of the dialogue that was coming out of these stories was meant to be in a like constructive, I don't know, undertone, like where people were meant to chat about it. And I don't think that there are enough avenues for people to have positive interactions when it comes to talking about these things, because things, especially nowadays, are so heated on either side. So I think that because we were still relatively small at the time, it went over fairly well. Like there were a few hiccups, but out of the stories, but for the most part, it went.
And I think you're absolutely, you're spot on there with how inflamed everything becomes very quickly, especially online. And I think that's something the Writing Battle forum community has been growing really, really well. I think with people, I'd say 99.9% of the time are being very respectful to each other and are able to exchange views on things. And okay, it does sometimes sway to being very, very positive, but I'm okay with that. I think there's enough there's enough negativity in the world that a discussion forum on a Writing Battle website doesn't need to be a hotbed of contrarianism. Is that a word? I think it is, contrarianism. Yeah. Anyway, but no, the forum is excellent. Yeah, I like. I'm a big fan of the forum, and I'm looking forward to seeing how things progress there as well over the coming years. So yes, sorry for dropping a question about a genre from 2 years ago. I appreciate the thousands and thousands of hours that have gone into the competition since then. Have probably obliterated all previous competitions from your mind. With people listening to this and thinking about the fact that we've had a discussion based episode as well, rather than just me waffling on about some stories, there is going to be more of that. So do keep an eye out, because in the coming weeks I'll be launching the Writing Battle, not the Writing Battle, that's you guys. In a couple of weeks I'll be launching the One More Short Story Patreon, where there'll be premium episodes. So for a subscription, you'll be able to hear episodes with author discussion and other bits and pieces that I'll keep to myself for now, and I look forward to sharing with you. The core podcast will always be free to listen to. There'll be a mixture of free and premium Patreon episodes. And yeah, I'm looking forward to sharing all of this with everyone.
Awesome. Thank you so much for having us, Chris.
You're very, very welcome. It's been great to have you both on, and I really appreciate you coming on and supporting the podcast. I remember when we first started talking about it at the very end of 2025, and you both had such kind things to say, and there was an awful lot of positivity that really helped me get started with it. It's not something I'd ever done before. I don't come from a background of decades of podcasting, and this is just another one that I do. It's a new venture for me, and I know you both know a lot about new ventures and what's required to get them going. So thank you both for that.
Oh, thank you. It's been a pleasure to take part.
And to see your podcast grow, and I think it's going to keep growing, and we wish you all the best with this. This is great.
Thank you both. That was great. This is One More Short Story with Max and Teona, and with me, Chris Fulwell. We'll see you next time.